Hello, I am Marcus, one of the creators of Fathom, and for this week's video I'll be going over how initiative, actions, and reactions work in Fathom. Starting with, as you can see here, initiative. Before combat starts, we need to establish the order of each creature's turns, which is called initiative. To do so, we start off with an initiative roll for all the players. To do so, each player rolls 2 dice and adds their initiative score, which is usually double your influence, to the result. This will be your initiative for combat. The Game Master also rolls initiative for each hostile creature. To simplify larger groups of enemies, the Game Master can often combine groups into the same initiative order and act them out individually once you get to that point. Then, you'll establish in order from top to bottom the initiative order in that regard. Let me switch to an example now. Here I've set up a map so you can see a actual initiative roll with some tunnel rats versus thugs. First, it'll be these tunnel rats here. I'll roll 2d6 for this tunnel rat 1. They rolled a 4. I'll mark this down. So they got a 4, so tunnel rat run, or R1. Got a 4 plus 6, 10 for their initiative. Tunnel rats 2, I'll roll this again. 3 plus 6, so they got an initiative of 9. Thug 1, which I'll call Thug Blade. See what they get. 4 plus 4 got an 8. Thug Pistol. 4 plus 4 got an 8 as well. I'll go over what to do with this in a second. And lastly, the Throwing Club. 10 plus 4, 14. So, Thug Club 14. Now that we have everyone's initiative scores actually tied down, we'll write down in order from top to bottom who goes. So Thug C, 14. Rat 1, 10. Rat 2, 9. And now I'll roll, except this time with only 1d6 for each of these Thug Blade and Thug Pistol, to try and see who would get a higher number, and that would result in them going first out of the people in 8. If I had multiple people in 8, I would roll a dice for each of them and see who beats who. So first for the Blade, got a 4. For the Pistol, got a 3. So that means the Blade will be going first. So Thug, Blade, 8, Thug, Pistol, 8 as well. But specifically in that order. Alright, that's an initiative roll done. Switching back, let's talk about actions now. During combat, during each one of your turns, you can take up to 2 actions, which can be the same action or different actions. Here is a list of all the possible actions you can take. Starting from the top, we have the move, skill check, hide, spot, wrestle, resuscitate, disengage, cast spell, inventory action, and prepare action. Going in order, move lets you move a number of spaces equal to your speed. Skill check lets you make a skill check. That can be anything that requires any sort of DC to be beat if you have to roll multiple dice. Hide lets you become hidden. Spot lets you spot hidden creatures or objects. Wrestle essentially allows you to move, knock over, and move through creatures. Resuscitate lets you save a dying creature by passing a skill check. Disengage lets you to not provoke opportunity attacks, which I'll get into later in reactions. Cast spell would also be something I'll discuss later in a different episode, because spellcasting will have its own section. Inventory action lets you complete up to 2 of the following, and what it means by that is that you can do one of these possible options multiple times. So for instance, if you want to take something out of your inventory twice, that'll be 1 inventory action. You don't have to use a second one to do so. And lastly is the prepare action, which is essentially you declare something and then you use a reaction to activate that thing that you wanted to do. You are able to take 2 reactions per round. The round being back to here is a full cycle of turns when it starts from this man and goes all the way back to the bottom and resets. During that time, any one of these creatures can take a reaction depending on the correct triggers. Reactions reset at the top of a round, meaning once the round's over, everyone will regain 2 reactions. So it might be in your benefit if you roll low initiative to make sure no one has reactions for your specific stuff. Okay, going back to the actual reactions you can take. These 4, defend, dodge, sustain, and brace, allow you to defend yourself better when you are targeted by a specific type of attack. Then there's the jump reaction, which can be taken during the move action, a reaction during your own turn, to move an additional 2 meters by jumping. Opportunity attack is triggered when someone leaves your melee range or gunfu range with that, and it allows you to make a single attack against them. Run, which is probably the most common one that you'll deal with, which is at the end of another creature's turn, spending a reaction to move up to half your speed. In practice, that would be something like this. Let's just say it's the end of Thug Club's turn. So we'll try and move with one of these rat groups because they want to move to the doors and prepare for the people entering. The rats here have a speed of 6 meters, so that means that when this group takes their run reaction, they can move 3 meters. There are 5 quick things to remember when it comes to actions and reactions. First one being you can only take actions during your turn. Let's just say we go back to the example. It is the end of the Thug Club's turn. It is now the rat's turn. The Thug can no longer use his actions for anything. There is no possible way to do it. He cannot move, he cannot attack. He can only do stuff that rely on reactions at this point. Next, reactions can only be used once per trigger. This means that, for instance, as I said, the Thug Club ended its turn. The Tunnel Rats are only able to use the run reaction once. You can only do it at the end of another creature's turn, and only one creature's turn was ended then. You cannot run twice at the end of another creature's turn. Next, abilities that trigger at the end of a turn occur before any reactions are allowed to take place. Next, number 4. Simultaneous reactions are resolved in initiative order. If anyone wants to take a reaction at the same exact time, you would go from the top to the bottom to resolve the order. Obviously, this doesn't come into play if someone's reacting to a reaction, which is completely allowed. So, if, for instance, the Tunnel Rats 1 end their turn, it'll be Thug Throwing Club. He is allowed to run first, before anyone else. This might matter in situations where you need to get to an exit before anyone else, or if there's like only certain enough spaces for everyone. And lastly, if you're unable to use actions and reactions, you still remain unable to use them, even if they were allowed to be used for free due to an ability or an effect. This is very rare, but it happens in case you are stunned, but you have like a jacket with an upgrade, for instance, lets you dodge or defend for free. This won't let you dodge or defend if you are physically unable to take those reactions normally. That's the one restriction. Alright, that was a basic run through on initiative, actions, and reaction systems in Fathom. In the next episode, I'll go over attacks and defense and how they work, and how it looks like in a realistic combat using the same situation. So you have to look forward to more thugs and rats in your future. See you soon, Delvers.